With the season now being over and the transfer window officially starting on June 1st, added on to the fact that Mikel and Arsenal apparently want to get our transfer business done early in the window, similar to last year of course, and hopefully this time being able to actually enforce the squad enough to, fingers crossed, go potentially all the way and lift the Premier League trophy for the first time in 20 years. I'm expecting this summer to be absolutely huge for Arsenal to push us forward, whether that is selling players, whether that is buying players. We need to go all in this summer. So in today's video, I'll be discussing the 3 things we just absolutely have to see and Arsenal just absolutely have to do in the window to strengthen the team. I'm not going to be giving any specific players, there will be future videos for that, but more so just giving the general outline and the guidelines that Arsenal need to make sure that they follow in order for us to make sure that we get the most out of the window and hopefully potentially get our hands on a Premier League trophy this time next year. So what's going on everyone, you are listening to Gunner Central here. I hope you're all doing well. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Now the first thing out of the 3, and this one is by far the most obvious one, and it also is probably the one that hurts the most to say, but we just have to cash in on wasted talent. A lot of players that we have in the squad right now just don't get enough game time for the amount of money that we pay wage-wise or for the money that we could get for them in the window. The first guy that comes to mind is of course Aaron Ramsdale, and I'm fully expecting to see Ramsdale unfortunately leave Arsenal. I love him as a keeper, really good goalkeeper, but when you have David Raya who's just slightly better than Ramsdale, well, Ramsdale's always going to be second fiddle. Also with Newcastle probably been very interested in Ramsdale. Well then this is something that we have to pursue. I would love a fee of around 35 to 40 million pounds for Ramsdale. He's still very young, he just signed a new contract last year. He's English, so he'll count as a homegrown player. And of course Ramsdale is still a very high level Premier League goalkeeper, able to make good saves and dictate the ball with his feet. I really think Aaron Ramsdale is a good enough keeper we can expect a good chunk of change, say 40 million pounds for. The next guy we have to get rid of is, unfortunately, I think Eddie Nketiah. He just isn't ever really going to be good enough for Arsenal. Good backup, but again, he doesn't even play enough. Even as a backup, he just doesn't produce enough. Yes, he scored a couple of goals this season, mainly in the beginning of the season, but from about March onwards, I don't think Nketiah even got a minute of football. I don't see Nketiah ever breaking into this team fully to be our starting striker. I just don't see it happening. And we could expect something like 20 to 25 million pounds for Nketiah. Again, another English homegrown player, Premier League proven striker. We could get some decent money for him as well. So again, you sell Ramsdale, you sell Nketiah, you could be looking at around 50 to 60 million pounds incoming if you can sell them both. Then of course there are players that I don't know, it's kind of looking at. I mean, Tierney obviously will have to leave this summer. You imagine Reece Nelson, and most likely, unfortunately, the one that hurts the most, say Emile Smith-Rowe, will probably be leaving this summer as well. If we sell all the quote-unquote deadwood or the players that just don't play enough that we can get some decent money for, well then you're looking at an incoming of about 100 million pounds if you're selling Tierney, you're selling Ramsdale, selling Nketiah, sell Nelson, sell Smith-Rowe. If we eke out as much money as we can for those types of players, well, you could get around 100 million pounds for them to invest into the squad. That'll be absolutely huge for us. So that's the first thing. We have to cash in on the wasted talent in the squad. And the second thing, and arguably the most important thing I think we have to attack, is we have to get a world-class attacking player. Now, in my eyes, preferably a striker. I've always said this in all these videos. I would love a striker with 20 to 25 goals in him a season. But now that I look at it, just any sort of world-class man in the front 3. A left wing would be huge. Of course, Martinelli hasn't been great this season, so having a good left wing come in and Martinelli can kind of be the backup or the guy that just fights for position with him, would that be awesome? But like I said, preferably a striker. I think a guy, of course, is kind of unrealistic, but a guy like Rafael Leao, who could play as a left wing, play as a right wing in certain situations, and play as a striker. I think for me, that'd be the perfect type of world-class attacker we need. Chechko, good player, gonna make a video about him, but I don't think he's a world-class attacker. We need a guy who can play across the front line, which can give Saka rest, give Martinelli and Trossard problems on the left wing, but also maybe be our starting striker. I think that would be the best idea. So that's another thing we just have to do. A world-class attacker. Yes, we scored so many goals, the second most in the Premier League, but I think it's clear for all of us to see, especially before the turn of the year, it was clear to see we needed a striker. And then that makes you think, well, then what's going to happen with Havertz? Well, Havertz can still play in midfield. Havertz can still play up top. Havertz is a really good player. I like him as a striker, but he's just not a type of striker that's going to get you 25 goals in a Premier League season. I would love to be proven wrong. He did score score 13 Premier League goals this season, so of course he could, but I just don't see him as an out-and-out striker, so I'd prefer us to go get a world-class attacker. And the last thing, the third thing we definitely need to do, another guideline, is get a world-class central defensive midfielder. I know a lot of people want Arsenal to go get a left-back, but I don't think we actually need a left-back. When you have Yurian Timber, Zinchenko if he stays, Tibio, Tomiyasu, we have enough cover at left-back. I don't think we really need anything at the back line. Maybe another good centre-back, but outside of that, I don't think we really need anything at the back line. I genuinely think if we can go get ourselves a world-class CDM, say a Bruno Guimaraes, well then I really think that changes the team for the better. I mean, I know Thomas Partey, really good central defensive midfielder, but he is older, he's injury prone, and as good as he has looked at times, he also looks very iffy at times, and I think we get some decent money for him. It's our last time to actually cash in on Thomas Partey. I think keeping Thomas Partey around wouldn't be the greatest idea. Declan Rice, of course, can play defensive midfield, but I love it when Declan Rice plays as an 8 rather. Jorginho, I think we kept as a backup defensive midfielder, and I imagine Partey to be sold, so that opens up a hole. We need a player like Bruno Guimaraes, we need a player maybe like Douglas Luiz, Paulinho. There's a lot of good central defensive midfielders around Europe. There's younger guys, there's older guys. I really think we need to get ourselves a world-class CDM. It'll just help out the midfield so much more, and it'll help out depth-wise. And if we don't sell Thomas Partey, well then he'll be one of the best backups in the league at that position. You know how important that position is. When Rodri plays there for Man City, he is crucial for them. We need ourselves a world-class CDM. But yeah, guys, that's the video. Let me know in the comments below what 3 things do you desperately want Arsenal to do in the window. And if you have any player suggestions for each position we need to fill, well then leave them in the comments below. Please be sure to smash the like button, subscribe if you guys haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.